He's Black with Garland and Calvin. I'm Calvin. That's my guy, Garland. And as we do every Wednesday, even though today is Thursday, we're here to discuss Snowfall and This Is Us. And because it is Thursday, we're going to discuss the last two episodes of Snowfall and then the last episode of This Is Us. But before that, how you doing, Garland? How things going?
Things are going well. I can't complain. It's Thursday. You know what I'm saying? It's almost the end of the week. It's been a long week. Shout out to everybody that wished me happy anniversary. I just celebrated 30 years of marriage, and so that's a good thing. And yeah, man, looking forward to 30 more.
Yeah, man, 30 years is a long time. Listen, only person that's been in my life for 30 years is my mom. And you know what I mean? There have been times when she ain't even want to be around there. So,
Right.
congratulations.
Like I'm trying to break up with you.
Hey, man, congratulations. And I know
Thank
Paula
you.
did speaking engagement yesterday.
Yeah. Last seven sayings. If you are in the Christian church or even in the Catholic church, there are a lot of services leading up to Easter or some what they call Resurrection Sunday, and one of them is the last seven sayings that Jesus said from the cross. And so she had an opportunity yesterday to preach one of those seven utterances, and she did an excellent job. And all, it's the second time out preaching, and so we're just extremely proud of her and all. And yeah. So that's good times. It's just a good time. It's a good time to be alive. Anniversaries. I got a daughter's birthday coming up in a couple weeks, and so yeah, April.
See,
What about yourself?
hey man,
Yeah,
just as you can see, the only thing I'm doing is wearing hoodies in the summertime because I don't wash or iron any t-shirts or
hoodie
anything.
king.
So yeah, I'm just slumming it up. Just slumming it up around here. I'm getting prepared for my grandson to be born. It's supposed to be the end of
Right.
this month, so I'm getting
Oh
prepared for that.
wow.
I'm go
You
down to
ready?
Charlotte. Yeah, well, I figure like this. It ain't my kid, so he get it. Hey girl, take this back. Give my daughter
Right.
her
Right.
son back. But yeah, man, I'm looking
Wow.
forward to it. It's yeah, it's an adventure. It's going to be a whole new chapter
That's
in my life.
exciting.
But yeah, man, it is. But anyway, let's get into this because this is pretty long. We're gonna have Snowfall. We have
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
episodes, and a lot went down in both of these shows. So let's get started on this.
All right, let's do it now. Snowfall, as you know, last week for our two or three viewers, Jerome and Louie, they got married last week, and all appears to be going well until Scully. He's invited to the wedding. I don't know why they invited Scully to the wedding, but Scully, he's at the wedding reception, and he spikes the chocolate fountain with LSD. Now, let me tell you a story about the chocolate fountain. It's so funny. Was at Golden Corral one time, and they had the chocolate fountain at Golden Corral. And a kid, he had a strawberry, and he went and took his hand with the strawberry in it and put it into the chocolate fountain. They had to shut down the chocolate fountain, empty it out, clean it out, all this. This was pre-COVID. And so I stay away from chocolate fountains. And so when Scully found out, like, hey, everybody gonna be eating these strawberries on this chocolate, let me throw some LSD up in here. So of course everyone is unaware and begins to trip except Wanda. Wanda, although she's a crackhead, she's allergic to chocolate. So Wanda didn't have any. And of course, Veronique. How convenient is it that Veronique misses a lot of stuff, Calvin? How convenient is it? It'd be a whole lot of mess going on, but it never affects Veronique. It's because she the government inside. I'm telling you, she doing something. Something gonna come out because we see the series finale next week, so we're gonna see. And so as a result, everybody's high. We see Franklin, he confronts his demons, the good Franklin, the guy that had the good intentions, that, was in college and wanted to do good, versus the bad Franklin, who's the drug kingpin and the murderer. Also, Sissy, she gets paranoid and she almost exposes the KGB officer. And then I'm trying to figure out why is the KGB anyway. All right. Let's keep on going. So she gets paranoid. She almost exposes the KGB officer. And my man Leon, he still has delusions of grandeur. He's going to leave the country. He's going to take Wanda with him. He's going to go ahead and be a freedom fighter. And so, but there's something that happens before all of this, Calvin. There's even people screwing outside at the. I don't know if you saw remember the little background. Somebody was doing the doggy position out on the grass while Louis and Jerome was each talking over each other and all that other stuff. But before all that takes place, Louis, she secretly meets with Teddy and makes a deal for her and Jerome to become kingpins. And so, what were your thoughts about last week's episode?
Well, first of all, quick question: the kid that put his hand in the chocolate with the strawberry, was he one of us?
No, no,
I
no,
didn't
no.
think so.
It was one
Anyway,
of them.
yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah, I didn't think so. Anyway, yeah, man, so we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I thought that, they kind of mended the fences, and even though they still wanted to break off, I didn't know they were going to do it in such a strong, dramatic way. I was pretty
Right,
shocked. Now, we should have been clued in, or at least I should have been clued in when the prior week she just kind of brushed it off and was like, "Oh, so y'all working together? Cool, cool. If y'all cool, we cool." And she still went ahead with the hit. So I should have known that, Louis wasn't still all Franklin, you know what I mean? So
right.
she yeah, I was a little shocked that she met with Reed on her own, and she did it in a strong manner. Like it was one of them, it's either now or never with her. It wasn't a build up to it. She just did
Hmm.
it, she just did
Right.
it. Good move for them, but as we see, Franklin ain't feeling it.
Franklin not feeling it, and it's kind of wild how drugs bring out the real people, the real person in you. And so seeing them all high, but they doing those things that they've kind of trapped inside of them or hidden inside of them. Franklin going through all of these things, all of these visions that he's seeing, and even calling Teddy on the phone talking about, yeah, if you come after me and mine, I'm gonna have to kill you, not realizing he's talking to Teddy on the phone. And so it's really just kind of crazy just how trippy everybody was on this LSD. My man Scully, he just walks away. And then we get to last night's episode, go get Scully. Now Scully, he didn't poison the chocolate, but to me, the episode should have started off like where's Scully at, but it doesn't. And so we see a lot of changes happen in last night's episode. The biggest one is that Franklin learns that his aunt and uncle have double crossed him and gone to Teddy. The family's pledged to get their cocaine directly from him. They're not going to go through Franklin anymore. And so not only did this make Franklin feel betrayed, but he also realized that the move would essentially put him out of business unless he relocated his operation to another part of the country. And to make matters worse, Louis and Jerome has branched out to St. Louis and using Franklin in his expansion vision. And so should Franklin have killed Louis and Jerome for making a move on his business? And did
Well,
uh and
damn.
did yeah, I mean, let's get right to it. I mean, and did Franklin let his love for family blind him to Louis and Jerome's ambitions?
So there's always going to be a difference in management styles, if we can call that, with with drug dealers. There's always going to be a difference in management styles. Franklin's management style is, yeah, he definitely wants to control everything, but he wants to be loyal to the people that he controls. We've never seen, other than the occasional tongue lashing here and there, we've never seen Franklin really get at his people. So Franklin's not going to be the one to kill them. I think this pushes him to his limit. But you see, the person that he tried to punish on this was Reed.
Right.
He told Reed our business is done, even though Reed was like, just because this is happening doesn't mean that our business is done. So Franklin told him it was done. Franklin, he gave them a tongue lash, and then he walked off with his jaws tight. But I don't think he has any plans of any type of retaliation against them, because when it all boils down to it, they are family, and Franklin is family oriented, and Franklin's not trying to get into a war that's going to take him away from his soon to be daddyhood or fatherhood coming up.
Sure, sure, sure. Yeah, and so I just think Franklin, maybe he saw it coming and he's just moving a little bit too slow. Normally Franklin is out front on these things. He's kind of feeling it before it happens, and so to see that I really think it's more Louis than Jerome. Like Louis wants the crown,
Definitely
and
Louis,
yeah.
yeah.
Now Buckley, as a matter of fact, another Louis move. Louis, she decided, hey, let's go ahead and put a hit out on Kane, because Kane, he made a threat on the family. He tried to take them out. He missed, but they broke it. Some peace with them, but that wasn't enough for Louis. And so Louis went ahead and got her boy crackhead Bucko, and Buckley got out there and tried to take out Kane. But of course, in typical Buckley fashion, he doesn't finish the job. And so does this put Franklin and Veronique squarely in Kane's crosshairs?
If it goes back to them, so that's the question. As Lee said, he didn't say anything, but they're going to eventually figure it out. So who are they coming after? If you remember when Franklin walked off, he told Louis, you wanted to be out front, you out front now. So maybe they go after Louis. It's not necessarily they're going to go after Franklin. And Veronique did go talk to him and say, am I safe or whatever? And I actually thought that's why she left the wedding. I thought that he was going to come in and start blazing in the wedding, and I was
Right,
like,
right.
she's the snitch and this and that, but it didn't happen that way. So I was trying to see if your theory was working out. Right now, your theory isn't working out with Veronique, but we'll see what happens.
I'm
Um, but
telling you,
um,
she op.
but yeah, man, Buckley. So she has Buckley joining. I'm trying to think about how she's going to explain this to Jerome, because Jerome is the one that doesn't like this dude.
Right.
And you putting him on payroll and you promising him double of what he's making now. So he's going to be a major part of this organization. I wonder how she's going to explain this to Jerome.
And she a crackhead, and he a crackhead. You can't trust crackheads. And so
Exactly.
we see what happens. And my thing is, where Peaches? They were looking for Peaches last week, and they never picked back up on finding Peaches. So where Peaches at?
Well, they found out that he was a crackhead. So,
Yeah, I knew Peaches was a crackhead, but
yeah, they just letting him live, or kind of live, or whatever it is he's doing. But remember, when they were in the crack house, they said that he was trying to go to another country, one of the other countries.
oh,
So
okay.
he's in
So
South America
he took the
somewhere. If you
money and
remember,
ran. Okay.
yeah, if you
Yeah,
remember,
that's right.
the white boy blurted it out like, "No, he's his."
Right.
So
Okay. Now, of course, because of all of this going on, and Louis and Jerome pretty much cutting Franklin's business, Franklin he meets with Teddy to tell him the news. That of course, Teddy's he's a little bit less enthusiastic about hearing this because Franklin makes some money. And so Teddy even attempted to convince Franklin to stay in the drug business by reminding him of all the money their partnership has made them over the years. And so, he says, nah, Reed, I'm done. I'm out. You had a boy from Kansas and a boy from Compton. We set this game on fire. Now it's time to roll out. And so he got up, gave him some dap. And so, we know Teddy. And so we know that he broke into Franklin's safe. And, it's a possibility he's going to try to steal Franklin's money. But you think he's going to let Frank walk away from the game clean?
well, he actually can't. If you remember, when Franklin was high, he called him and he told him either you're going to kill me or I'm going to kill you. So Reed's going to take that to heart. I think Reed's going to put a hit out on him, or do it himself. Reed isn't one to not doing it himself. I think Reed is going to go after him. I think
Mm-hmm.
he's going to probably wait, try to bring him back in the fold, and if it doesn't work, he's going to go after him. Plus, Franklin knows too much. He can't let Franklin roll. He can't let him live.
Right. And so, all right, next week we got the season conclusion coming with Snowfall. We're gonna see what happens. There's a lot of balls up in the air. We got Louis and Jerome. You got this whole thing with Kane's attempted murder out here. You got Buckley. He's got to take this drug test. Is he gonna get put off the force? Frank, he trying to get out the game. Leon, he trying to go to Angola with Wanda. Sissy, she talking to the KGB. So we got a lot to try to cover. Hopefully, we get an hour and a half out of the season finale. And so they're setting up for a good ending. And it has already been renewed for another season. And so we're looking forward to seeing what happens and how that carries on over into the next season.
Which is going to be the final season. This next season that they've been renewed for is going to be the final season of Snowfall.
And it should be because they're running out of story ideas.
They really are.
Yeah, they really are. You went as far as you can go with crack. I don't, I don't know. I don't know any drug dealers that live this long. And so Franklin, he's managed to miss cartels and Bloods and Crips and be quite successful. Go ahead and have that baby and go ahead with your op and do your thing. Now, Tuesday night was one of, in my opinion, one of the best This Is Us episodes that I've seen in a minute. Um, Particularly of this season. I might, kind of push this up to maybe the top episode of this season. And so, in honor of the show's 100th episode, Katobi makes a bold choice not to look at Kate and Toby's split, but they explore the next few decades of their lives too. And so it hops around in time as we tend to do with This Is Us between the aftermath of Kate and Toby's brutal lawn fight from last week and her wedding to Philip about 4 years in the future, which we saw last year and last season's finale. And so we watch Philip propose to Kate before we even seen their first date, only to jump back in time to Toby and Kate's couple therapy session 16 months into their rough patch. And in the end, it's clear that they're not just in a good place to be good partners for one another anymore. And so once it becomes apparent just how much a toll that tension is taking on their children, they realize that it's time to call it quits. And so better to try to be happy apart than to go on continuing to be unhappy together, a reality that Kate accepts much easier than Toby does. So Toby tells her, this can't be the way that our story ends, in a moment of desperation before nearly breaking down at the thought of having kissed her for the last time. But like Madison last week, Kate is able to see that just because their marriage is over doesn't mean their story is over. And I thought that was a great line. And so it's a point of view that Toby wasn't fully able to take at heart until many years later when he calls Kate on her wedding day to explain that he finally understands what she meant when she gave him those words of comfort after signing their divorce papers. And so let me look at it this way. So what themes or thoughts kind of came out for you, Calvin, as from this episode?
Well, first of all, I love how they had these different branches of both of their lives, separate and apart, and they brought them all together at the end. They kind of all just it was kind of almost like a spidery timeline with all these different legs to it. Then at the end, they all met in the middle. So I enjoyed that. It's so. And I was talking to the wife about this. When you're watching it, this Kate and Toby story, especially last week, and I agree with you. It's one of the best episodes they've had. You don't know who to blame because they're both wrong
Right.
and they're both right. And we just naturally you try to take sides, but you might take a side here, but then after the commercial, you're like, oh well, wait a minute, I'm taking this. It's so difficult. It was so well written. The theme that I get from it is just exactly what Kate said. Just because this is over doesn't mean that our story is over. A lot of us, and I guess we've all done it at some point, we can't see but what's in front of us. That's all we can see.
Sure.
There's a whole life. He has a whole two children that you got to be that part of that life, just like me right now. I got a grandkid coming. I didn't see that when my oldest daughter was born. It's so many branches to your life, and this was a great episode to show that. So that's one of the themes I took out of it, that just because the actual physical relationship is over, the story is not over at all.
One of the things that I got is recognizing when a relationship is over and accepting it and being able to move on. So, one of the things I used to hate to hear, and you hear this kind of like church people say this all the time, there are seasons to relationships. Relationships go through seasons. And as I gotten older, I do realize that yeah, you do go through seasons in your relationship where you're very close, where things very good, and then there are seasons where things get very hard. Sometimes in those seasons, you're able to work through it, and your relationship gets stronger. and then sometimes your relationship doesn't get stronger, and it becomes time for it to end or for you to move on. And I saw that struggle in Toby because he was in those seasons, and they had those great seasons. And even when he came back home and things got rocky, and then he moved out, season got good again, and they start working well together again. And he wanted to take another swing at it. But Kate was strong enough to see that, yeah, although this season seems good overall, our relationship is really over. And I think that's the hardest part. A lot of times we've held on to not just, marriages or, interpersonal relationship, friendships, sometimes a little bit too long. And we fail to recognize when it's okay to go ahead and let those things go. And we can be stronger. We can build new forms of that relationship, and it's okay. I think, a lot of us have just been taught to hold on, just keep on holding on and keep on working. And then we wonder when mommy and daddy is 70 and they getting divorced. Like, what? Y'all never got along, y'all never liked each other, but they have been holding on for different reasons, holding on for children, on for a mortgage or whatever. And so I think this is a great example of, okay, I see it. It's time to go. It's time to move on, and let's just do it so we can grow from it. And so, yeah, I back with that too. Go ahead, Calvin. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, and kudos to Kate because knowing when to let go is right. And Kate saw through a lot of things. And if you remember, Toby said some things. I'm not Jack. I'm not your dad. You know what I mean?
Right,
Toby
right.
thinking he's trying to live up to your dad, and he's like, because you can't marry him, you settle for me. It's like, whoa, like you saying a lot of things,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
she never really threw that kind of stuff in his face. But there was that moment when he said, "This can't be the end of our story." And he came and said, you know, we got to do this for the kids. I love the kids. I can move in here. Not once did he say, we need to be together because I want to be with you. I love
right.
you. I want. Not once did he say that, and she completely saw through that, and she didn't shoot him down hard. She was just like, "Nah, son, it's over." Like, and he knew it was over. But another thing he said was, "I don't want to end up like my parents," So a lot of times people are focused on things, and we talked about this with Kevin. People aren't really focused on the relationship and the other person. They're focused on what they either are trying to be or what they don't want to be. And you got to focus on the actual person, and that's one thing that Toby seemed to have been missing.
I think it's tough to be alone, and he said that he didn't want to be alone. And
Exactly.
yeah, it's one thing to be alone in a relationship because you can roll over and that person's there, but to be alone by yourself, like alone, that's definitely another level. And so I was a little surprised knowing that we what we know about Toby, that he was the one to try to give the marriage one last try. Were you surprised by that?
No, because
Okay.
a lot of the things that Kate said to him in the previous episodes were true. And I think one of the things he was trying to do was prove that he was a great father. And if you know, a couple times he dropped that in there. I'm a great father. Don't tell me I'm not a good father. I'm a great father. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think, again, his motivation wasn't necessarily to be with Kate. His motivation was to prove that he's a good man. And I think we've talked about that before. Toby is so dedicated on proven that he's a good guy, he's a good man, that he actually misses what the love and the marriage is about and the relationship is about.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so overall, I thought it was a great episode, this back and forth and seeing them in real time and then versus the future. And so next week, we're going to be getting into the wedding. And so we're going to be seeing them as her and Philip, as they walk down the aisle together. And we see Rebecca and what goes on with her and Randall. And, Rebecca, although she has some of her functioning, we're starting to see that she started to head into that part of her illness where she's forgetting things. She's becoming a little bit confrontational, and we see our boy Miguel. It looks like Miguel going to step up and be her defender. I know you don't like Miguel, and so Miguel, your boy Miguel, is going to step up in there and try to rectify things. And so I'm looking forward to next week's episode.
Yeah, man, me too. And 6 more episodes left. We definitely, I think everyone's anxious on how this is going to end. Like you said, we see Rebecca starting to deteriorate more. So we definitely want to see what's going to happen. Also, it looks like Kevin. They said Kevin slept with somebody, so we're trying to see if it's the
What
original
else is
girl that he
new?
slept with. Yeah, maybe it's Madison that he slept with.
Right,
They show Kevin with what condom girl,
right.
what was the State Farm girl, and
State
I
Farm
mean,
girl.
yeah, Kevin's getting it all in. But
Kevin's
yeah, man.
Kevin's
So
burning them
looking
down.
forward to the next 6 weeks.
Kevin is burning them down. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. See where we go with this, and I'm interested to see this dementia part because as a person who's personally dealing with it with two aging, not only my parents but my mother-in-law as well, and seeing this slow decline. It seems like sometimes it's slow, and sometimes some days it seems like it's fast, and how you deal with it, and how they're going to deal with it as a family. And so I'm interested in seeing these upcoming episodes.
Yeah, it should definitely be interesting.
Yes.
Well, before we roll out, you got anything you want to talk about? I got one thing. I'll go first on
Yeah,
mine.
go
And
first. Hmm.
as you all can see, I'm donning my O's are back. My O's are back playing. There was a delay on opening day. The opening of the season with the MLB had nothing to do with the Orioles personally. They went to Tampa Bay, who's a tough opponent. They lost 3 in a row, and they came home and won the home opener. 2-0, great game, and they dropped the last 2 games. Now the Brewers aren't a bad team. I think they made the wild card last year, if I know correctly. They do have Christian Yelich, who's a powerhouse of a hitter. They have the Cy Young Award winner on their team, but after 6 games, my O's are 1-5, and it's not looking too good. And it's the beginning of the season. Usually with the Orioles, they start off strong and then they fall off, but because they're falling off now, I don't have any hope that they're going to get stronger. This may be a historically bad season, and I'm hoping it's not because I love the Orioles, and they want to stick with them. I'm gonna stick with them. You might see me in pain, but anyway, that's all I gotta say. Let's go O's,
You all right? You need a
bruh. It's
hug?
tough. It's the beginning of the season. It's tough.
Yeah, I was watching the game the other night where they had bases loaded, no outs, and they could not push a run across. And I thought about you. It's like, yeah, I know Calvin is suffering in silence. That his team, our team, because I'm an Orioles fan as well. It's the hometown team, but it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough.
It's gonna be rough.
Um, as I'm thinking as we're coming up on spring. We're already in spring, and weather hopefully is going to really turn into spring one day, and before you know it, we'll be in the dog days of the summer. And I just want to encourage people to those dreams and those ideas that you've had that you wanted to do that you've been pushing away every year. You push it away, or every month you say I'm going to do it later. Now's the time. Now is the time to get out and chase your dreams, do those things that you've always had a dream of doing, a desire of doing. And we just got to take those steps. I'm reminded of a conversation I was having with coworkers the other day, and we are talking about the difference between generations. And I was talking about how I'm raising Generation X children, and I'm the hip hop generation. I'm before that, and that their outlooks are different, and how they were raised. How one of those would be a peer for my daughters. how she was saying, it seems like her generation, they're not as motivated, or they don't know really what they want to do. And you know, I was thinking about that, as I try to encourage my children all the time. This is the time to make those dreams a reality. You want to go to school, you want to start a podcast, you want to travel, you want to get your own place. Now's the time to strike out and do it. And you got to do it, and you got to experience it. You won't learn anything just standing on the sideline watching everybody else. We got to get our feet wet, even if you fail, even if you don't complete what you started, or it doesn't go the way that you envision it. You still have to step out there and do it. And so, out of the three people that are watching tonight, if you wanted to do something, go do it. And those people who might watch this later, go do your stuff. And I think me and Calvin are a testimony to that as well. We're doing some stuff that we've always talked about doing, and we finally just said, "Hey, let's do it." And we're figuring out ways to keep on doing it. And so, hopefully, you'll join us as we kind of take this journey.
Yeah, man, exactly. And then speaking of just getting out and doing it, we actually recorded a podcast earlier this
Yes,
week, our sports podcast that we're calling Fanboys, and we recorded
fanboys.
it. But unfortunately, whatever I did wrong, it did not save. We had an hour
That's
of
all right.
great podcasting.
We
We're close
did.
to an hour of great podcasting about sports. And so we're going to get that back together. We're going to record another one, which will be for you all our first episode, but
Hmm.
technically it'll be our second episode. So we'll do that again and get that out there. But yeah, I
Definitely
definitely agree. Whatever it is you all want to do, just get out and do it. Nothing beats a
do it.
failure but a try. And if it doesn't arrest you or mess with your credit, why not try it? I mean, just
There
get
you
out there and do it.
go.
So,
You can always
whatever.
repair your credit.
But don't mess up your credit. Don't do
Yeah,
it.
don't. Trust me, I just been having just had that's what people trying stuff.
Just don't
Yeah,
mess up
just
your
had a
credit.
conversation about mess up your credit. Don't mess up
Protect your
your
credit. But anyway, that's it for us. We will be back next Wednesday where we will discuss.
credit. Yep.
Actually, since Snowfall is ending next Wednesday, maybe we should come back Thursday again and we can
Yeah.
discuss the finale of Snowfall. And
Okay.
then do This Is Us again. Let's do next Thursday. We'll
That works for me.
we'll get back to you all, but most likely next Thursday. Where we will discuss the finale of Snowfall and then the last episode, the next week's episode of This Is Us. So we'll be back doing that again. We'll try to drop a podcast this week and send it out to everyone so you can get a taste of us just hearing our voices and not seeing these beautiful faces. I know it's going to hurt you. I know it's going to hurt you not seeing the faces, but you
I
can hear the
know.
voices and imagine
I
how
got that
much better
special
we look.
Beijing for this one. You won't see my Beijing on I ain't get the full Beijing, but you won't see the little bit of spray that they hit me up on the temples with.
I had a one time I got a cut and I had the guy, he did a Beijing for me right around my bed. And you know how sometimes you see the people big going straight across to their nose coming down. I
Yeah.
look like that. And I was just like, this is no, no, we can't do this. I actually went to like Chipotle and I remember looking in the mirror when I was walking out the door, looking in the glass, and I was like, oh nah. So I went in the house and just washed that shit out. I was like, we can't do
Up there looking
that.
like somebody bishop or pastor
Yeah,
coming
man,
down.
we can't do that. I'm glad I didn't let Katina see it because she would have been like, what the
Right.
fuck? Like, you know,
Trust me, man. When
yeah.
I come in the house, they be like, "Yeah, you looking real dark around the temples. Your hair ain't that dark no more."
Yeah, I couldn't do it. But anyway, we want to thank you all for joining us. We will see you next week. And again, this is All Things Black with Garland and Calvin. I'm Calvin. That is my guy, Garland. And we will see you all next week. Have a
All
good
right.
one.
Have
All right, guys.